Whoa! Shit!
Holy shit. It's him. No.
Some encounters don't need a clear monster to feel dangerous, just one wrong move, one strange sound, or someone appearing where they shouldn't be. A man crawls up a roadside slope on all fours, and a camper hears strange singing deep in the woods. When the warning signs are this unclear, would you stay or leave before it gets worse? Picture yourself driving along a silent forest road when you suddenly spot someone standing off to the side alone in the middle of nowhere. You slow down, stop, and ask whether they need help. That is what most people would do. But the reaction you get is nowhere near what you expected. That is exactly what happened to this man while he was heading home.
Just some cruisers, man. That's crazy shit. This guy's crawling at me like it's goddamn... What's up, dude?
The clip is brief, and honestly, it is not hard to understand why the person filming chose to leave right away. Realistically, most people probably would have done the same thing. The person shown on camera looks extremely confused, and the way he climbs up the slope on all fours feels abnormal. The movements by themselves are deeply unsettling. Maybe the man was under the influence or going through something serious mentally. The point is, when someone acts unpredictably, situations can shift fast. And when you cannot understand what someone might do next, keeping distance is usually the safest option, especially during a late-night camping encounter. If you were in that situation, would you try to get closer or leave immediately? Geechee Uncharted is a channel where the creator records his explorations and openly acknowledges that many of his choices are reckless, and honestly, that becomes clear across many of his trips. The video uploaded on December 9th, 2025 shows one of those moments. Over time, he has explored numerous abandoned places. Some trips go smoothly, while others become difficult quickly, just like this one. This time, his aim was to find a World War II bunker he had discovered on old, unreliable maps. The bunker was supposedly buried deep in a mountain forest, far from anywhere very easy to reach. The hike itself was already challenging with steep ground and dense vegetation, and at one point it even looked possible that he was moving across land that may not have been public property. The footage is fairly short, but it quickly makes clear that the trip is not going well.
I'm going to trespass on private property. My purpose here is that I'm going to find a lost World War II bunker. It's raining a little bit. I've been following this logging road for a while. There is where the bunker is. It's looking like the trenches of the Great War. Wasteland. Oh shit. Yeah, that's close. Holy shit. It's him. That was fucking close. Okay, that's him. He's coming back. That's not his truck. That was two other workers. I'm trying to film this real quick, because I don't know when this fucker's gonna come back.
After managing to avoid being seen by the people inside a nearby vehicle, the real problem begins. He has to start climbing, and one wrong move in that environment could turn the situation into something far more serious than a simple YouTube adventure. The terrain grows increasingly dangerous, and the path he picked is obviously unsafe.
This was the worst way to do this. This sheath for my spear. If I fell on this, I'd die, man. Oh. Ow. I don't know where my sheath is. Okay, now we're risking it. I don't know if I can get up this. Oh my god. This might get precarious. Yo, I don't have a choice. I have to keep going. No. Oh my god. God. Hold on. Ah! My shoulder. Cramped hard. This whole thing's fucked. I don't remember which way. But it's a cliff. It's a fucking cliff. I just say fuck it and go through the brambles. I can get out. The road's right up there. So what just happened was you probably just bore witness to my worst idea ever. Lord have mercy, I did not expect that. That was the worst thing that I've done in a long fucking time. I'm not gonna be able to find this bunker with just my phone as a fucking flashlight, man. I gotta turn back.
The trip eventually reaches nightfall, and honestly, that may have been the best outcome. Sometimes pushing forward is not courage, it is simply needless risk. The situation becomes a reminder that not every exciting idea is worth chasing, regardless of the cost. The footage ends exactly where you saw it. There is no scene showing him getting back down safely, but since he continued posting videos afterward, it is reasonable to assume he eventually made it home without incident. And considering his usual style, there is a strong chance viewers will see him try something similar again. Sometimes, situations like this unfold differently than expected, and small choices can quietly decide how serious things become. If you found yourself in a camping encounter like this, would you keep moving forward, or turn around before things became worse? The following footage was uploaded to the YouTube channel Pipe97 in August 2025. In the video, the uploader and one of his friends try to free climb a construction crane rising about 1,000 feet above downtown Toronto. Although it is not a normal outdoor location, the situation carries the same tension and uncertainty often seen in a high-risk camping encounter where one mistake can immediately change everything. At the beginning of the video, they quietly enter the active construction site, moving carefully through dark, unfinished corridors and hiding behind concrete columns while looking for a route to the crane base. From the moment they got inside, they believed workers or security guards might still be somewhere in the building, so they stayed cautious, knowing one wrong move could get them caught before they even reached the crane. They kept their lights low, stayed close to shadowed corners, and avoided attracting attention as they pushed deeper into the structure. But just as they thought they were getting near a way upward, they suddenly heard voices nearby, confirming they were not alone.
It's open. Is there anyone? Okay.
Even without knowing exactly where the sound was coming from, they still decided to keep moving toward the crane. Their patience and careful timing eventually worked, and by waiting for the right moments, they managed to slip past everyone inside the building and reach the crane base without being noticed. From there, they started the long climb upward, pulling themselves higher one rung at a time and stopping on narrow platforms to breathe while the city lights shrank beneath them. After a hard climb, they finally reached the top, stepping onto the upper structure with the Toronto skyline spread out below. But the moment did not last long. Before they could fully enjoy the view, police sirens sounded somewhere in the distance, forcing them to climb back down quickly and leave before authorities arrived.
Hold up. Is it for us? Have no idea.
Don't make noise, don't make noise. Be careful. Very good.
Hey!
Once outside the building and back in the open air, adrenaline kept them moving. For a short moment, it seemed like they had escaped until they realized they still had to get past the people guarding the site. As they crossed the lot, they hurried past security, avoiding eye contact, and moving as fast as possible before anyone reacted. In the distance, the sirens continued, though it was never completely clear whether they were connected to the climbers or something else happening in the city that night. Either way, the two did exactly what they came to do: reclimb a 1,000-foot crane in downtown Toronto and get out safely. At that height, there is absolutely no space for error. One slip, one missed step, or even a sudden gust of wind could instantly turn the climb into a fatal fall. And even if they survive the way down, they are still trespassing. If you were in that situation, would you trust your control, or realize how quickly everything could go wrong? Shortly after dark, deep in the Idaho forest, Angry Owl Outdoors had finished his meal and was settling beside the creek for the night. The mosquitoes were relentless, but the woods around him had gone completely silent. That silence became the start of a terrifying camping encounter.
Had to make a little fire and some dinner, and then enjoy the evening.
How rare it is that I stay up past 12. If that don't sound mighty good, I beg your pardon. Hey. And on my face, I feel you breathe.
Then, without warning, everything shifted. From somewhere just past the tree line, something broke the stillness. An elk barked.
Stop. A massive elk barked just beyond the trees here. It made Falcor flip out. I had to throw him in the tent. I got to go back and see if I even caught the bark. It did it a couple times. Very cool, but I could hear it crunching through the trees over.
Not the far-off echo usually heard across open valleys. This was sharp, aggressive, and incredibly close enough to feel in his chest. His dog reacted immediately, lunging and growling toward the trees. He barely managed to grab him and get him inside the tent before the dog could vanish into the darkness.
Through the trees over there, and it kept wandering up the mountainside this way. So there's a lot of bear too, but they leave you alone for the most part. It was just out of this world almost.
Branches cracked nearby. Heavy footsteps smashed through the brush only yards from camp, circling around and climbing the slope above him. Then the barking came again, louder and much more aggressive, followed by the unmistakable sound of something huge moving uphill through the woods.
Fire died down. Get ready for bed. Got bed all situated. I'm fed, so now time to just sit back. Temperature's dropping, and it's a pretty nice evening. All right, guys, so finally time for bed. It's definitely time to sleep now. So this tent's working out fantastic. Nice and spacious. I got plenty of room for all my gear. My bag and gear is actually underneath the camera right now.
He stood completely frozen, listening closely. Whatever had been watching from the darkness had finally exposed itself, and it was far bigger than he first expected.
Sit. All right, good morning, guys. Well, not a bad night other than the coyotes started popping off at about 5
Sometimes, a camping encounter like this is not about what you see, but how close something gets before you finally understand it is there. If you were standing there in the dark, hearing something that close, would you stay calm or move before it came any nearer? Sometimes a camping encounter does not unfold far out in the wilderness, but inside places that should already be deserted. When every noise seems to respond to you and every movement feels strangely timed, the real question stops being what is there and becomes what has already noticed you. Ghosts on Trent is a YouTube channel run by Mark Stockton, a British creator who explores abandoned buildings and reportedly haunted locations across the United Kingdom. During his investigations, he spends nights inside these places, using audio recorders, spirit apps, and cameras to capture anything unusual that might occur. On August 11th, 2025, Mark returned to an abandoned farmhouse in the countryside after strange activity had reportedly been captured there during an earlier investigation. With the Ouija Brothers team asking for a second opinion, Mark brought another investigator named Paul to revisit the farmhouse and see whether the same unexplained events would happen again.
Attic. You go up there then, mate. Yeah, well, maybe mine will look on. What the fuck was that? Do you hear that? You go up there then, mate. Yeah, well, maybe mine will go through. Just be careful of that floorboard, man. Do you hear that? There's one more place we need to check. Attic. You go up there then, mate. Yeah, well. What the fuck was that? Do you hear that?
Was it brakes outside on the road?
No, it was here. It went, ooh.
I'm getting goosebumps, man.
Yeah, that was really loud. That was brilliant. If that's the only way you can communicate with us, we really do appreciate it.
Not long after they entered the empty building, the atmosphere changed noticeably. While checking the upper floor, a disturbing sound echoed through the farmhouse, faint but clear enough to stop both men immediately. The noise sounded like a woman moaning, although there was no obvious reason for anything to break the silence. Despite the rising unease, they kept searching for answers to questions they may not have truly wanted answered.
When I first came here, it happened somewhere else in the house. That's what
Don't
makes
tell
you...
me.
No. Sounded upstairs.
Come on. Was that what we heard this?
Right, let's just...
Fuck.
Just take 5 1 minute, man.
Okay.
Soon after, the same sound echoed again, slow and deliberate, almost like someone carefully crossing the floorboards directly above them. When they went upstairs to investigate further, the noises shifted into something even harder to explain. The voices were too unclear to fully make out, yet distinct enough that both investigators instantly recognized hearing them. After checking the corridor and attic again, the farmhouse still appeared completely empty, but the atmosphere suggested whatever had been there had not moved far.
We're going to come up there. But if you don't want us to, make a noise, and we'll stay here. If that's what you want, we can make that happen.
What the fuck? That was loud as fuck. My God.
We're going to come up there. And if you don't want us to, make a noise, and we'll stay here. If that's what you want, we can make that happen.
Mate. So you want us to stay here?
Do you hate people being here?
Then a sudden response came, a heavy impact from the level above them, far louder than any earlier sound that night, arriving with unsettling timing.
We are going to be leaving soon. We've been here for a very long time. We're going to come back. Are we okay to come back to your home? If you don't want us to come back here, make a noise. Use your voice. What an incredible night. Leaving here speechless once again. It's been a great investigation.
I believe in it.
Do you?
Mate, you know, that especially that what really, really made me think, I thought, whoa, when you said about that knock.
We've just been up there, we haven't heard it.
Heard nothing.
Later, the investigators climbed the staircase once again, carefully returning to the area where the earlier noises had started. But the moment they reached the upper level, the activity stopped completely. The same rooms that moments earlier produced footsteps, heavy bangs, and distant voices had become entirely silent. The farmhouse fell back into total quiet as they prepared to leave, but the unanswered questions remained, leaving behind the lingering sense of a controlled and reactive camping encounter. Sometimes, a camping encounter like this does not need anything visible to feel real. If you were in a situation where something seemed to respond to you but never showed itself, would you keep searching, or leave before it answered again? The next video was first shared on Instagram, but it has since spread across several platforms in different versions, so it may already look familiar. The footage shows a mountain biker riding with friends on a dirt trail made for speed-sharp corners, steep climbs, and pure adrenaline. Trails like this often feel remote, but during one downhill section as the rider speeds around a turn, a group of people suddenly appears ahead. Everything shifts in seconds, which is why the moment feels so intense.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Shit! Stop! Are you okay? I'm so sorry. Damn, bro. Hey, watch out! Is everyone okay? Are you guys okay?
Get the dog.
It's okay. Did I hit the dog? Sorry, guys.
Where's my glasses at?
Here, I'll help you look for some stuff. I am all good. I crash all the time. I just want to make sure you guys are okay. So, this isn't a legal trail. As you can see, there's no signs. It was made by bikers. If you do decide to hike up it, be careful. I should be careful too. I'm sorry. That's also on me. I hope, is he okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you need any?
Detail that stands out is the quick apology, even though the situation was not completely one-sided. At the same time, the trail had no signs, and the group had no way to know it was being used for downhill biking. To them, it likely looked like just another path through the woods. Luckily, the rider was able to slow down enough to avoid hitting anyone directly. If a collision had happened at that speed, the outcome could have caused serious injury or worse. The dog was not hurt, and a warning called from behind helped keep other riders from entering the same situation. When there are no clear signs or warnings, both sides are left relying only on instinct in that moment. So, in a situation like that, would it feel like an accident, or something that could have been prevented? Jamie is a YouTuber who films his rough bikepacking and van camping trips for his channel, often catching real and unpredictable camping encounter moments that feel raw and unfiltered. Unlike many van life creators who show a polished lifestyle, his content focuses more on the reality of finding a safe place to park overnight inside his Volkswagen Transporter, where even a simple camping encounter can quickly become uncomfortable. In February 2025, Jamie uploaded a video from a solo journey through the Norfolk countryside on a misty, rainy evening. After realizing his first campsite was covered with no overnight parking signs, he had to drive through the darkness looking for another spot. Eventually, he stopped along a remote stretch of Peter's Way, an ancient Roman road known for being highly isolated. Almost immediately after arranging his cooking area, the mood of the trip began to shift.
Weird singing going on in those woods. I think I'm gonna cook my tea and fuck off.
Jamie mentions hearing strange singing somewhere deep inside the woods. While most people would probably assume it was just the wind or some type of auditory illusion, he is clearly unsettled by it. Despite the odd noise, he tries to dismiss the feeling and continues making food. At one point, he even thinks about walking into the woods to check the source of the sound, a choice that could have pushed the camping encounter even further. But as the rhythmic noises continue, he starts worrying that he may be getting close to some kind of gathering or group of people hidden deep in the darkness. Although he first tries to push through the discomfort by opening the back of the van, the uneasy feeling eventually becomes too strong, and he chooses to lock himself inside. As he gets ready to sleep, he realizes the singing may not have been the only thing he needed to worry about during this camping encounter.
Just got out of the van to have a piss. What the fuck is that? There's a light in the bloody woods now. I'll tell you what, fuck this.
After deciding that someone or possibly several people may be watching him from a distance, with a light visible far away from any nearby homes, he decides staying overnight is no longer worth the risk. He eventually leaves the area safely afterward. In that situation, would it feel safer to stay and understand what was happening, or leave before the camping encounter became something worse? The last clip in this compilation comes from a YouTube channel named Co-T. Today, the channel mainly posts music, but several years back it uploaded many different types of videos. The footage here was posted about 6 years ago, though it looks much older. That detail only matters for context because the clip clearly isn't recent or made with modern technology. In the video, we see what looks like some type of animal. However, the title calls it the full video of an alleged skinwalker, which instantly changes how people understand what they are watching and turns the situation into something much more unclear and mysterious. The reality is, nobody truly knows what it is. It could be mistaken identity, it could be staged, or it may just be an animal recorded from a strange angle. For a short moment, when the figure moves closer, it almost looks like a human body lying on the ground, but the movement feels unusual. The way it crawls on all fours appears fast, rigid, and almost unnatural. After just a few motions, it vanishes behind a rock, and that is where the footage stops. No clearer follow-up, no second angle, and nothing else to prove what was actually captured. The poor video quality does not help either, and since the footage is older, it becomes even harder to examine properly. And honestly, that is why the clip remains in people's minds. There is just enough detail to spark the imagination, but never enough to fully explain anything completely. If a camping encounter like this left you with more questions than answers, would you trust what you thought you saw? Or leave before learning more? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story. Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.